Hey, good afternoon, folks. It's Coach Blue for you. And the current topic will be failure as a parent. So, many of us as parents often question our patterns, our motives, our actions, our behaviors of how we've raised our children, just based off of their where they're at today, they being our children, how they developed, and where we think they're going based off of what we've been able to share with them over their lifetime and our lifetime as parents. Um, Most of us in our 50s uh, have children that are grown, either in their 30s, 20s, some in their late teens, depending on how early we started. So there's a group of young folks out there that when we look at them and we look at the decisions they're making, we feel extremely um, dissatisfied. We feel extremely saddened, extremely disappointed, extremely to the point of we just didn't do something right, or in simplicity, as a failure. Many of us were the first or maybe second generation. Some of us were the first generation of in our communities and families to actually complete college as we were raised. Some of us were the first to actually go to college at all, whether you completed it or not. So I guess somewhere in that uh, journey, experience, maybe we had the thought that gaining a next level of education and gaining a next level of being able to take our families to a different perspective and take our culture to a different perspective, maybe perhaps we thought we were smarter than we really were or really are. Our parents, had instilled that each generation wants to do better than the previous generation. They want to provide a better living, a better family environment, better education, better job, just better opportunities for the next generation so that they could prosper and do well or do better, just based off the evolution of our families and society over time. In my aspect, my grandparents or great grandparents, more so my great grandparents, had very challenging struggles. Maybe a little easier or better for grandparents, and then maybe even a step up for that for parents, my parents specifically. So when it came to me and my ex-wife at that time, our thought was we want better for our children. We want to give them what we didn't have. We want to teach them what we learned, and we want to do things differently in reference to the things that we didn't like growing up, or the things that we thought weren't right in growing up. Uh, Maybe even challenging some of the traditions that were shared with us, and the value of them and the importance of them. One real simple was having a family dinner, sitting down at the table as a family and having dinner. We didn't have cell phones, so that wasn't an option, and TV was in another room. So we sat down and ate dinner and we talked. Sometimes the talk was of value, sometimes it was of nothing, but it was just conversation. But there's a lot of tradition in that we did not see the importance of. Well, let me back up. Me and my ex-wife, there's things that we just didn't see that was just as important of being. Did we have to sit at a table, all four of us sit at a table, or five of us sit at a table to eat? Could we not eat dinner at the same time, but and still conversate? But a couple of us were in the kitchen, a couple of us were in the living room, which was adjacent, watching TV. So we're all, I guess, multitasking, or having different views of it, points of view of attention at that same time, that we thought it was okay. Where we were losing actually some significant ties on relationship building and communication skills, and just in reference to day-to-day post checks with the family, with the children, with us, and with us with the children, and just with different things that are going on around them for their school environment, work environment, just day-to-day events. And over time, that that gap continued to grow, because as the children became older and became teenagers, it was even more disconnected. People ate, food was cooked, and then people ate when they were ready to eat. When they were hungry, and there was food available. So when you got hungry, you went to the stove or refrigerator, you got what you wanted to eat, and so forth, and did your thing, went on your way. And at that point, um, people were either eating in the room, watching TV, playing a game, or in the living room, or on the phone, or it was just a totally disconnected activity at that point of eating dinner. Where in that simplicity of what our parents' tradition was, where we being different, thinking we were smarter, we chose to bypass it or chose to not see the true value in it and what kind of core connections it was creating, and we did something different. So what I'm getting to in all this is there were different things and not morals, different traditions, different practices that our parents taught us that we probably should have done a better job in sharing with our children. Our children today are irresponsible. They're non-accountable. Um, their vision is very one dimension, very narrow, very tunnel vision. Accountability doesn't exist. There's a huge blame factor. For things that are wrong or that go wrong in their lives or that don't match what their expectations or thoughts are, often become the result of someone else's issue or problem. It's someone else's fault. It's because of this. That's why this didn't happen. Or how these things always work out. Or this is how this always goes. Or there was no reason for it to do this because it was going to turn out this anyway. And that's where we failed. We didn't do a good job of helping them understand that you are responsible for you. Now, what you do has a consequence, either good or bad. If you put the work in or you put the efforts in or put the right type of due diligence in, your propensity or opportunity to have a circumstance or outcome in your favor increases. It's not guaranteed, but it increases. And it works out a whole lot better than the point of just doing nothing and sitting back and blaming others. To the point when you blame others, you have the attitude of being, oh my gosh, can't think of the word, not empowered, but entitled. That you're entitled, that someone owes you something, that you know, you're owed this, or someone owes this, or someone's owed to help you, someone's responsibility to do this for you, to do that for you. Well, the problem is we did all those things all of your life for you as parents. And the results of that have created a society or a group of children or our own children where they're not where they need to be. They're not mature. Jay-Z was a genius when he made the song, 20 is a new 30. Excuse me, 30 is a new 20. And that's true because the average 30-year-old male or female today is really mentally, not physically, but mentally, I guess societal achievement-wise, is where someone was in their 20s or where we were in our 20s. 20 is the new 10. 40 is the new 30. People are 10 to 15 years behind where those of us are in our 50s were at that same point in time. Some of us were very mature and very advanced in our 20s. Whereas now, like I said, the average 20, 25-year-old is actually 15, 12 years old as far as being mature, their responsibility level, their accountability level, their ability to plan, their ability to look forward, their ability to plan tomorrow, their ability to plan for the next 10 years, their ability to put something in place. And I do not disagree with a lot of their belief about not falling into the rat race or the conventional work world of a 9 to 5 and being stuck in that rat race. I don't disagree with that. I didn't want to fall into that. I didn't want to be a rat race person all my life. Unfortunately, I am at this point. Perhaps that'll change one day, but at this point, it isn't. It hasn't. But I didn't have the option of saying, well, until this other opportunity shows up, I'm just going to do nothing. I'm going to fall out and just exist. I still understood or still had the responsibility enough that I still have obligations, had a family to raise, children, wife, financial obligations that needed a fulfillment or needed to be fulfilled. And regardless of where I wanted to be or thought I should be at that point of time, financially or in a position or as a goal in life. If I wasn't there, it's too bad. I needed to be responsible and do the things I needed to do to make sure that those responsibilities were taken care of. And that's not the mindset that they have today. So, in that aspect, we failed, and it's frustrating when you have these conversations with a young group who is so talented. Because I actually believe they're more talented than we were, and they have more resources at their fingertips to do so many great things that they just don't know what to do. They're overwhelmed with opportunity that they don't know how to take it or seize it, and that's frustrating. They want the biggest claim to fame for them is they want to make their own mistakes. And making mistakes and owning your own is cool because I wanted to do that as a young adult. I wanted to be able to make my own decisions, be able to make my own planning and whatnot, and not be under my parents' thumb or micromanagement. And I understand that. But there's a difference. There's a difference on making your own and making your own decisions and making your own mistakes with proper information and with information that gives you value in making decisions and accepting circumstances when either you succeed or when you fail. Just a simple thing of I want to make my own mistakes and just making them because you've not planned or because you're arrogant or because your ego's too big or because you're just defiant is ignorant. It's just straight ignorant. It doesn't show any maturity. It doesn't show any ability to be responsible or accountable for it because when you fail, now you want someone else to fix your shit. And you want someone else to help you through what you want to be helped with. Well, with if you had have taken a little bit of guidance that was shared with you prior to your decision that failed, you would have been able to walk through it a little bit more successfully. And I've just never understood if I can show you how to walk from here to across the street successfully, and on the other across the street's $1 million, and once you get to the other side of the street, the $1 million is yours. I can show you where to step, where to walk around, what holes not to step in. There's a mine over here that you can't see. As you walk 14 steps this way, one of the tree limbs is going to fall and hit you on the head and kill you. 14 cars are going to come racing down the street at excessive speed and hit you. If I can show you how to get across and avoid all those obstacles so you can get what you're looking for on the other side, why would you not take that? Knowing that all these are potential risks or factors that could prevent you from getting across the street, why would you be willing, knowing that I have that information, to take that risk? It'd be different if you knew it was over there and there was no one around you to guide you. There was no one around to give you information to let you know about all these risks or things that can prevent you from getting that. I understand you have to make the mistakes yourself. You have to figure out how to get across. Or at that point, you can do enough research or reach out to enough people who've done that and see if they're willing to share information with you. But it's still there's some trial and error on your part. But if I've taken those steps, then why would you not take those steps behind me? There's a movie called Mine. It's a military movie dealing with the Iraqi war, and it's about two snipers, two Marine snipers that are out there on a mission. It's a failed mission, and they have to walk 6 miles or 6 clicks, as they call it, back to a pickup point to get picked up. Well, in this journey back to this city where they can get picked up, as they walk through the desert, they come across an old minefield. And these are mines that are personal landmines. So basically, if you step on them, they're designed to take out an individual. They may cause minimal damage to a vehicle, but to a person, I mean, you're dismembered. You may lose a leg or 2 legs, or eventually it's going to kill you based off the severity of the injury. Well, in simplicity, as they make this journey across the desert, they see a physical sign that gets blown in a sandstorm to their area, to where as they're walking, that shows a skull. It's in Arabic, but the perception based off their teachings and knowledge, they know that there's a minefield out here somewhere. The sign is tattered and beat up, and it gives them the belief that, oh, it's old, the mines don't exist, or it blew from another area where we're going, we're cool, it's safe. So they did not take heed to that piece of information that was shared with them as they're making their journey to the city. Well, as they get closer to the city, they're about 2 hours away, probably about a mile, probably about 2 miles away, based off of traveling through sand and heat. And one of the guys who's kind of carelessly walking through it steps on a mine. And now, did I say mind? If I did, excuse me, it's mine. Steps on a mine and loses both of his legs from his knees down. Obviously, he's going to die, and I mean that's based off his carelessness and not paying attention to what he saw. He lost his life. The other guy in the journey with him, at the same time the other guy stepped on mine, he stepped on a mine as well. But when he heard the click, he did not move. Based on a personal landmine, when you step on it, if you take your weight, it's activated by weight. So once it's activated by weight and you deactivate it by removing the weight, it explodes. So he knows the only way for him to survive at that point was to make sure he kept his foot on the mine until he got help and went through, and I won't tell you the movie, but go through all these situations and whatnot um, for him to be able to be free or come out the different end. So the two things I wanted to share with that is the minefield is they had information that gave them a possibility that this area we're moving into could be very dangerous, could be detrimental to our lives. So they should pay heed to it. Very critical in walking through a minefield. If you have someone that's walking through it and you're coming through as a trail of folks through the minefield, it is imperative that each person steps in the footsteps of the person leading them. Because if I've stepped in that path and I was not incapacitated or killed by the mine, then that means that's a clear spot, and you have the opportunity to put your foot in that exact same spot as I have. And that's what I'm talking about as far as information to sharing, life's experiences. So why would you not step in my spots as we go through this minefield? I'm clearing the way. I'm exposing myself so that you can take this, you can step into my footsteps. You don't have to walk through here or try to figure out how to get through this path next to me or in front of me or behind me. Just follow my footsteps. Just follow my footsteps. So a lot of those things are what become frustrating in life for us dealing with our children is they won't follow our footsteps. And are all of our footsteps right? The answer is no. But for some of us or those of us who are where we are today, whatever it is, whether you think it's successful or not successful, we provided footsteps that if someone followed to some level of degree, there would be a level of a success. So I have talked enough, but just to give you some things to think about, do not be frustrated. Try to work through it. Try to see things from a different perspective as you manage and parent your children. And hopefully we can teach them some things different to teach their children than what we taught them because we wanted them to have everything and we ended up giving them so much that they take it all for granted. So please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please hit share. Share with your family and friends. And please definitely subscribe and leave some comments. Let's talk about some stuff. But most of all, please gain understanding. Peace.